Most investors are not losing money because they picked the wrong ETF. They're losing money because of 5 specific habits they repeat so consistently, they've even stopped noticing they do this at all. When we look at the Dalbar, it tracks the average equity investor, what they actually earned in 2025 versus a buy and hold investor. And guess what, guys? You're leaving about $12,000 on the table every single year. That is the average from individuals that do these 5 habits, not from selecting bad funds. It is from the behavior and the human behavior that we do see of investors. Now, I've listed all 5 of these habits, and trust me, I have done all of these going through this list. Today, I want to name them. I want to give you the data behind them and tell you exactly what to do instead. So let's go ahead and get into this. Now, the first habit is the most common one, and it is visible because it feels like you're being very responsible. It is checking your portfolio every single day because you feel like you're engaged, you feel like you need to, well-informed, you have to be in control. It is not one of those things. It creates a very daily conscious decision that could delay in the process when the performance is not the best. Making no decision at all is the way you have to go. Now, the S&P 500 has been positive roughly 53% of all trading days. That means approximately 47 days that you check your portfolio, it is lower than the day before. It is simple math. Each of those red days produce a mild stress response, even if you know it or you do not. That behavioral primes you to take action to do something when, of course, we know the buy and hold strategy works, and it has worked for the entire history of the stock market. The action available to you at this point is selling, and that's really the only option because the majority of people aren't going to have the insight or really the forethought to invest more money when the market is red. The Dalbar data confirms that the gap between the investors that returns and the market returns is the largest and the most volatile that we have actually seen in recent years, exactly when daily checking produces the most anxiety and the most temptation to act. The fix for this: set automatic contributions and check your allocations quarterly, once a quarter, not daily, not weekly. The portfolio does not need your attention to compound. It needs your absence, and it needs to be left alone. Now, for me personally, the only time that I log in and check my portfolio is when I'm actually making contributions in there. We know I'm not changing allocations, and I know that I am not selling. Whenever I'm making contributions outside of the regular automatic contributions that I have set is the point that I check my portfolio. The second habit is waiting for the market pullback, waiting for more certainty, waiting for the right entry point. This habit is particularly expensive because it feels like you're doing the right thing, like you're doing the intelligent thing. It looks like patience and discipline from the outside when it is actually paralysis from the inside. The Shiller cap ratio has been long run above the historical average, and really over the last 30 years, an investor who waited for valuations to normalize before entering the market would have been looking in the mid 1990s, and you would have been out of the market for decades at this point and missed the most significant wealth building period that we've had in modern history. The market has spent more time at elevated valuations than depressed ones precisely because economic growth and corporate earnings compound over time. That is why when we look at an S&P 500, it has went up into the right for an extended amount of time. Every month that cash is sitting and waiting for the right entry point and waiting for those expected returns, they are gone permanently. They are not going to be realized, and you're never going to get that time back. It doesn't come back when you finally invest. The clock does not restart. The fix for this: invest the day the money is available. Not next week, not after the next Fed meeting, the day it arrives. Monday, automatic contributions into M1 Finance. This removed the decision for me personally from my process entirely. The decision was made one single time. It has been executed forever for the last 6 years that I've been investing with M1 Finance. Habit number 3 is the most expensive single error that we have, and it is the one that I did in 2008, selling during a correction and locking in those losses in the market when it would have recovered, buying back after the recovery already happened, which of course most sellers have a tendency to do, meaning paying a higher price for the same asset that you had just sold at a much lower cost. You sold low, you bought high. The sequence is exactly backwards from the outcome that we're looking for. JP Morgan data, when we talked about our never sell video, 7 of the 10 best trading days in the market in the last 20 years have occurred within 15 days of the worst days. Missing those 10 best days, which is what most sellers do, they will exit during the worst period, reduced a 20-year return by half. You would have lost 50% of the gains when you sold when the market was going down bought back in when the market was going back up. The correction always feels like a signal to exit the market. It is a signal to hold. These two really produce completely different outcomes over an extended amount of time when you start looking at your time horizon. Now, the fix for this, the crash designated portfolio structure we covered. We talked about this in videos. If the portfolio is sized where no single position is going to be catastrophic and income doesn't really depend on the portfolio, there is no margin to force a sale in an up or a down market. Then selling during a correction is never a rational response, regardless of what the market is doing. The structure removes the decision. The structure is the discipline that we have within the portfolio. Now, the fourth habit is reaching for income before income is the right objective. This is a question, guys, that I get all of the time. An accumulation investor will replace growth ETFs with high yield covered calls, auto callable products, maybe even some high dividend yield. When we look at the QQQI and the K patterns earlier this week, it is optimizing a good metric at the complete wrong time. When you look at the QQQM versus that QQQI, it's about 5.5 percentage points that you'd be giving up. And when we start looking at the trailing distribution, it is included in both numbers. So if you would have done the QQQM versus that QQQI, you would have had a much larger return in the portfolio. Meanwhile, the income from that QQQI felt like it was a win. Money arrives on a monthly, feels tangible, feels reassuring, but the total return, when you look at the comparison of those two ETFs, of course, that QQQM would have yielded better results. The habit of chasing that number really feels good. The yield instead of the number is the one that mattered. And for a lot of people, they really focus on that. When we start looking at total return, the cost compounding that cannot be recovered in retirement if you're at about a 5.5% divergent from both of those. The fix, match the product to the phase. In accumulation, total return. In distribution, we're looking for income. The product that is right for someone at 65 isn't going to be the same fit for someone who is 42. The phase determines the product fit, and getting that sequence right is worth more than any individual fund selection decision that you'll make during your investing journey. The fifth habit is the most expensive because it's invisible. There's no portfolio losses to see, no red numbers, no bad trades to review, just the absence, the compounding that never happened because you never got started investing. The $500 a month compounding math we did from 2 weeks ago, starting today versus 5 years later, produced a $3.3 million difference over a 30-year time frame. Not from $30,000 in missed contributions, but from $3.3 million in missing compounding. The early years are the most valuable years in the entire compounding curve because it has the longest time to compound. A dollar invested today at year 0 has 30 years of growth ahead of it. A dollar invested at year 25, that 5-year gap is worth more than the next 15 years of contributions combined in their entirety. The reason most people start late is not because of laziness. It's the same feeling that really created 1 through 4, waiting for the right time, waiting to have enough money, waiting until everything is figured out. Nothing is ever going to be figured out, guys, and I'm going to tell you that right now. The market doesn't wait for clarity, and neither should you. The fix, start today with whatever amount you can commit to consistently to put into a portfolio. Not the amount you wish you could invest, the amount you can actually deploy without missing it. 5 habits, all 5 of them are visible when they're actually happening. Checking every day feels like engagement when it actually isn't. Waiting feels like patience. Selling feels like it's risk management. Chasing yields feels like it's an income strategy. And starting late feels like it's a responsible thing, even if you have enough to start. Every single one of them feels like it's correct in the moment and costs you real money over time. When you start looking at the Dalbar conclusion from 32 years of data, it is very direct. Investing results in a more dependent on investors' behavior than it actually does with fund performance. You can own the perfect portfolio and it will still underperform if you have any of these 5 habits. You can even own a mediocre portfolio and it will still outperform most investors just by avoiding them. The behavior is the edge that we see here, not the fund selection, not the timing, it is the behavior. So drop a comment down below. Which of these 5 habits are you most guilty for right now? Have you done them in the past? Be honest. There is no judgment here, guys. All 5 of these habits I have done as an investor at different points in my life. And have you ever spoken to them? Tell me if any of these resonate with you, and I'll let you know in the comments. I read every single reply, and I will reply as well. Subscribe if I gave you a clearer picture what is actually standing between you and the portfolio you want to build, and I'll see you tomorrow.